In this video, we're going to talk about how to get your Hashimoto's under control using diet and lifestyle if all you're doing right now is taking medication from your doctor like levothyroxine, Synthroid, Cytomel, Armour Thyroid, Nature Thyroid, or any of these thyroid replacement hormones. In the last couple of videos, I've been kind of talking about Hashimoto's. I did one here about Hashimoto's flare-up symptoms and the things that you may experience while going through a Hashimoto's flare. Yay, fun. And then I also did the video last week, which was questions you can ask yourself to determine the root cause of why you may be having a flare-up of your Hashimoto's to begin with. However, the one last week was definitely geared more towards people that have not done any sort of diet or lifestyle interventions to try to control their Hashimoto's. It's important to know that you need to do these because if you are not doing anything other than medication, your autoimmune disease is raging in the background. Medication that you've been given by your doctor only replaces the thyroid hormone. It does not stop the disease at all. You're basically taking a hormone that your body needs. It's very important to stay on the medication and to continue to take it because thyroid hormone receptors are in every cell in our body. And in order for our bodies to work correctly, it needs the hormone. However, your body's still attacking your thyroid and you're losing tissue every day if you have your Hashimoto's still kind of raging in the background. So it's important to try to stop it because otherwise things are gonna get worse, your medication dosage is gonna get higher, and you're at a lot higher of susceptibility to having more autoimmune diseases, and that really is not something that we want. I find this to be a very important subject for me because I was originally diagnosed with hypothyroidism back in 2006, and my doctor told me that there was absolutely nothing I could do other than take medication. And it was a little bit of a shock because I thought I was perfectly healthy at the time, but I went along with what he said and did that for 8 years. And for 8 years, every month my medication dosage would be up and down and up and down, and I would still have symptoms. And my symptoms weren't just hypothyroid, they were hyperthyroid too. And I would tell my doctor and he's like, well, we can't adjust your medication because if we make it too high or too low, you're gonna have all these other symptoms. You're gonna get osteoporosis and I mean, just all these different things. So you're gonna just have to live with it. And sometimes like he made me feel like the symptoms were in my head and that I was going crazy and all of these different things, but that's all he could do was just offer me medication. In researching for a couple of videos ago, I actually found that most doctors to this day are given pocket guides and ways of treatment that do not mention anything other than medication as their way of therapy for patients with Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, or hyperthyroidism. That's just what they say. They say something like hypothyroidism is rooted in something like Hashimoto's autoimmune, but all that they can do is give us medication. So that's how doctors are taught. It's not really in their best interest to spend much more time trying to figure it all out. And that's just kind of where it ends. The buck stops with medication and that's the end of it. Doesn't matter when you come in and you are suffering and having all kinds of issues, they don't necessarily have the time or resources to really figure out more than that. You're probably wondering then, well, what do I do in order to put my Hashimoto's in control and to not suffer from all these symptoms? Well, the best way to do it is via diet and lifestyle changes. And the reason for this is autoimmune disease in general, for any autoimmune disease, there are typically 3 factors of why you would get it. It would be genetic, so that you're passed down genes from your parents that have the predisposition to you getting an autoimmune disease. Then there can be things like toxins and outside factors that you can't really control, or exposure to things that just you can't control. And then diet and lifestyle. These 3 factors all kind of work in conjunction with each other, and we can't control the genetic or the toxin thing as much. However, we can control the diet and lifestyle. And that can help kind of switch off the genes and also to make sure that like any activity that is happening that is autoimmune based can stop in your body. Now, the very first dietary thing that I suggest to anyone, if you're brand new to all of this and have not done a single thing to change your diet whatsoever and only have done medication as your change, is to go gluten-free. Now, you can try it for at least a month, but I really highly recommend 3 months, just because gluten antibodies can remain in the body for 3 months. And so you're really not doing yourself as much of a favor by removing it only for 1 month as you would be for 3 months to really determine if it's an issue for you. Now, Hashimoto's and gluten sensitivity have been tied together in many different studies, and gluten itself is just one of those things that can cause a leaky gut, where the tight junctions in your gut are not as tight together, and so that food particles can get out into your gut. And this is one of the things that has been found in almost every case of autoimmune disease. So healing a leaky gut is something that's very important in order to feel better in the first place. So removing gluten is one of the very first steps to healing a leaky gut, because you're not going to be having that constant barrage. They're basically like little bombs in your gut lining. You're not going to be having those little bombs punching holes through your gut constantly. And so by removing the gluten, you're giving your gut a chance to heal and to start to feel relief from your symptoms. In fact, Isabella Wentz, who has a lot of information about the Hashimoto's diet, did a study of over 2,000 people and discovered that 88% of them felt better from their Hashimoto symptoms from doing a gluten-free diet alone. So that's how important it is to try this, at least, to see if it makes you feel better. And I want to state that this means 0 gluten. This means nada, none. Not a beer on the weekend and some pizza here and something there. This is none, because every little crumb of gluten can cause issues for you for up to 3 months. So you just want to make sure you get rid of it completely to really give yourself a fighting chance to determine if it may be the problem for you. Now, if you've already done a gluten-free diet and you feel better, but you still are feeling symptoms, that's where I'm going to say try doing a paleo diet, and then perhaps an autoimmune protocol or AIP diet as well. I say paleo diet for most people that are feeling symptoms, but not necessarily they aren't too bad off. You maybe have these symptoms and you can still go do your life, but it's not like your quality of life is really suffering. Paleo is still very healing. It removes all grains, which also kind of act like gluten, but not to the same extent, but also give your body a chance to rest and to heal your gut and to provide a lot of nutrients in. And then if you really are suffering, your quality of life is just gone, you can't get out of bed or you can't get off the couch, you can't chase after your kids, you're missing work, you're missing events, all of these different things, that's when I say try AIP, because AIP is very restrictive, so it's not an easy diet to do by any means. However, it is very effective at healing the gut and finding relief for you as quickly as possible. If you want more information on these diets and how to start them, what they involve, all that kind of stuff, I have a lot more information on my site. Go to thrivingonpaleo.com/start-here and go through that, and it will lead you on everything that you possibly need to know about these diets and where to start. Now, the other factor that is really important is lifestyle. A lot of times this isn't mentioned with some things because diet does seem to be the big thing, but it's not the only thing. Lifestyle is just as important as diet when trying to control things like your Hashimoto's. Now, what lifestyle really is things like stress relief, sleep, your mental aspects, exercise, all of these different other components that don't necessarily are things that you put in your mouth to eat. So sleep is very important. You need at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep. And this is because your body needs an immense amount of time to recover and repair and detoxify. And you do all of this during sleep. And if you rob your body of that sleep, you're not getting that detoxification and the repairing and all of that in. And eventually that does take a toll on you. You can flare alone just by missing a few nights of sleep. So it's very important that you do your best to try to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And I know some of you may be getting way more than that, and that's okay too for right now. Especially with Hashimoto's, a lot of times we do need even more, and don't freak out if that's you. In the last video, I talked about how too little exercise can cause autoimmune flares because It reduces the immune function and can be a trigger for flares. And then also too much exercise and too high intensity of exercise can raise cortisol, make your body think it's in the flight or flight kind of stressful situation, which can cause leaky gut and can cause an autoimmune flare as well. So you want to kind of be in that sweet spot of exercise. What that's going to look for you can be completely different from somebody else, but things that I recommend are walking, Pilates, yoga, swimming, biking, just gentle things that are not going to tax your body too much, and listen to your body. Make sure that you don't overdo it. If you're feeling really tired, really sore or anything like that, don't go push yourself. I know that's a big thing, work harder, you're not gonna gain until you like throw up and those kind of things. Don't listen to those. Those are the worst things you can listen to for autoimmune disease. If you have Hashimoto's, just take it gentle. It's gentle is the main idea that's going to keep you feeling so much better. If you hustle and go as hard as you possibly can, you are just setting yourself up for a nasty, nasty flare. And then stress relief. I could do 3 videos on stress relief alone. However, it is so important to make sure that you're getting stress relief in your day. This doesn't have to be like you have to go off to a Buddhist monastery in India or wherever they are for like a month. This is like taking some time out, maybe 10 minutes a day to do meditation. Maybe every couple of hours, do a couple of rounds of deep breathing. Maybe spend some time reading a book or doing a hobby a couple of times a week, or if you can swing it every single day, going to get a massage. I mean, there's so many different forms of stress relief, but the important thing is that you just do something. Everyone is always on this constant stress treadmill these days, and it's just so bad for us. And even if you didn't have Hashimoto's, it would still be bad for you. Chronic disease, it's like one of the main causes of chronic disease. And it is one of the main factors that can cause Hashimoto's flares. If you have your diet all dialed in and say you've done autoimmune paleo and everything is hunky-dory and great, and you're getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep and you're getting great exercise and all this, but you have a lot of stress, you're gonna have a flare. So do the best you can. It doesn't have to all be done right now, because I don't want to overwhelm you and stress you out more for having to do this, but do the best you can to start trying to build stress relief into your day. And then I want to talk about mental state. This one's a very interesting one because I don't feel like it's talked about a lot, but I have learned so much about the brain and how powerful it is. I mean, it rules our body, right? But I don't think anyone really quite understands how much it can determine what happens to you and to your body. So let me give you an example. So if you're constantly saying, I'm sick, I'm tired, I don't feel well, I have Hashimoto's, poor me, I'm sick. What do you think your body's going to do in result? It's probably gonna stay sick, right? Because you're telling your brain over and over and over again, like a habit, that you're sick. So your body's going to follow suit. Now let me offer you an alternative. What if you were to say, every day I'm feeling better. Every day I'm getting healthier. I feel much better today than I did yesterday. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel like, I feel like it makes you sit up a little bit taller, gives you a little bit more hope and positivity. You don't have to go and say like, I feel great if you are stuck on the couch, because your brain's not gonna believe it, you're not gonna believe it, it's not gonna do you any good. But if you say, every day I'm getting healthier, every day I'm feeling better, your brain can understand that. It means there's an incremental little help each day. And it's just one of those things that really can make such a difference. And it seems so simple, but your brain is so powerful. And just making this small little change can make a huge difference. I suggest just trying it for a couple of days. See how you feel. If anything, I feel like just making that I'm sick to every day I feel better, like just makes me feel better. And I'm not even feeling sick right now. And then finally, the last component to getting your Hashimoto's under control, if you haven't done anything other than medication, is maybe working with your practitioner to see if maybe you have an underlying root cause of like a gut infection. Common ones of these are SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, H. pylori, or candida. I mean, any of these kind of things. Sometimes people have parasites, which are actually quite normal and common, so don't freak out if you have one of those. But then also nutrient deficiencies, they are very common with Hashimoto's. Low stomach acid is a very common one. Just any of these kind of root causes can also be a reason why your Hashimoto's is not under control as well. I always like to start people off with diet first and the lifestyle, and then if you're still having issues, then to go see a practitioner. Unless you're already working with a practitioner, a lot of these tests can be pretty pricey, and finding a practitioner can be a little bit difficult because not all practitioners will run these tests and all that kind of stuff. But if you have been trying to do like AIP or any of these kind of things and are not feeling better, it is worth your time, money, and effort to get tested for these, because no amount of diet's really gonna completely get you healed if you still have these issues going on in the background. I just wanna mention these now just so you can keep them in mind if you haven't done diet or anything like that yet, but just know that they are things that may be something that will help you down the line. All right, that's all I have for getting your Hashimoto's under control. Like I said, go to my site, thrivingonpaleo.com/start-here. I will put that up here on the screen so you can see it. And that will just lead you through everything. Like, it will help you understand what your autoimmune disease is, why you have it, all of that kind of stuff. And then the diets and lifestyle recommendation that I recommend that you start with. It'll just give you a great overview and help you feel confident in what to do next to get your Hashimoto's under control. And remember, you don't have to do it all today. These are certain kind of ideas that like work for a lot of people, but it's not like you have to make the jump. Just keep it in mind. It took me an entire year after I had heard about diets like this before I made any change, and I'm glad I did, but I was not ready when I first heard it. So I just want to offer it to you as an idea, and go and bookmark that page on my website if you need to so that you can come back to it. But just start learning about it and understanding that the Hashimoto's, your hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, if those are autoimmune in nature, which they most likely are not going to be taken care of if you do nothing other than the medication. That's the main point I just really want to get to you, and then offer you the solutions to helping yourself if you want to feel better and have control of your disease. So that's all I have for this time, and I'll see you later.